just explain your skill, listen to what they need, and then insert yourself with that skill. So if you are...
Welcome to the Old Fashioned Real Estate Show, where hosts Brian Leverage and Jeffrey Holst pour out old-fashioned real estate advice.
Episode 35.
Welcome back to another episode of the Old Fashioned Real Estate Show. I'm Brian Leverage.
And I'm Jeffrey Holst. And we have a special guest with us today.
I'm Jamie Gruber. Amazing to be here. Thank you, gentlemen. May I raise my glass?
Absolutely.
To
Cheers.
You? Cheers to all of you.
So it doesn't
COVID
work
cheers.
Quite the same when we do this
virtual toast suck.
It's COVID cheers. We call it COVID.
Yeah, that's right. This is this is like the first episode we've ever filmed during the COVID-19 crisis. We have some episodes that have come out, but they were previously recorded. Just, I went to Africa for a month. When I was gone, we didn't know how many we would need, so we recorded a bunch of them before I left. And we're running out. So now we're doing live interview shows.
It's good to say, I'm used to you guys next to each other, right? Like sitting down next to each other. So this is the world we're in.
Yeah, no, we did one. For now. Yeah, we did one actually. That's the longest episode we ever did, actually, now that I think about it. After I got back from Africa, we did a Zoom meeting where we just talked about a panel discussion similar to what you've done on your channel with a couple of different investors talking about, what they're doing to prepare. And this was like mid-March when we didn't know what April was going to look like.
Apologize for the barking dog. Yes, I got
that's fine. Yes. That's going to happen to me soon too.
Yeah, it is a different dynamic, and like you said, it's neat to see in the COVID world, who's taking a lead here. Like, of course, the bigger pockets, the big boys are putting out content, but for you to grab investors and bring them on a panel, I did the same thing. It's a neat instinct to kind of observe, who's retreating from their sort of purchase as somebody who's been putting out content and helping people, and who's doubling down on that, right? And it's great to hear you guys are doubling down. I'm trying to do the same thing. It's the time to do it.
Well, and we're you do way more than us. So your marketing is genius, by the way, compared to us. Like, Jamie's got this group, Multifamily and More, that I think has like 1,000 locations, and like 1 million people that support him or something.
Close.
Yeah.
Close. We're still a hair off of that, but yes, close.
Yeah.
On 18 communities now, just brought a couple new on at about 7,000 members.
That's great.
So what was your impetus for getting into and starting all of that?
It was brokers ignoring us. So when we were a couple of years ago, 2.5-ish years ago, my business partner and I wanted to, we formed a business partnership to buy multifamily. We both invested in some singles and duplexes and that kind of thing just before. And then we were like, wow, we like this. We want to go to multifamily. You seem like a good guy. And we formed a company called CF Asset Group. And then we started going about the process of building relationships with brokers. Put together a business plan, sat down with them, went over what we wanted to do. They're all excited. We're excited. They were excited even that we had a plan. I guess a lot of tire kickers out there, right? So we're very clear on our criteria, and then it would just be sort of like nothing. We wouldn't hear anything, or when we did, it was far afield from our criteria. So our thought was, hey, you know what? Let's try to attract a bit of a following or a brand that we can be a face of multifamily in our particular market, which is Michigan, and put together this group. When we did it, there were no other multifamily groups out there in my market at that point. This is about 1.5 years ago now. And so we were like, wow, let's call it something multifamily, but if it's not out there, maybe nobody wants to go to just a multifamily meetup. So let's call it Multifamily and More, so that we could bring in other topics or whatever. And like you were talking about the name of Old Fashioned, it ended up being a mistakenly genius thing, because we're able to talk about mindset, Airbnb, health. I mean, you name it. We can bring in other topics, and it sort of fits into what the brand name is. So that's why we started it, and it served us.
Yeah, and I heard that at one of your meetups in January, you had like the greatest speaker of all time. So
Jeff, oh God, what's his last name?
Yeah. Let me give you a clue. I was there.
That's right. It was awesome, man. I mean, look, The Last Life Ever community you've formed, I think, is beautiful. I think it's from the heart, and it does great things for a lot of people. The concept of no bad days, I think, is fantastic, and it's even more powerful when then you hear your backstory and the bad days that many would say you have had, but you didn't see it that way, and you've lived through that mantra, that mindset ever since. So inspiring, informational, a really great blend. It was one of our best.
Yeah.
Our best
Well,
months.
listen, I was teasing, of course, but I do appreciate that, and I really enjoyed you inviting me up, and I look forward to to visiting your other 17 locations. So
That's right.
Actually, I've been to the Chattanooga one also, because Brian and I are both members of the Chattanooga group. So
that's right. That's growing well. He's doing a great job with it.
Yeah, no, very, very happy to see that catching on. So if you guys are interested in multifamily investing, then you should definitely check out Multifamily and More. There are Facebook groups all over the place, and it should be pretty easy to find on Facebook.
Yep. Yeah, you can actually just go multifamilymore.com, and they're all right there. They're all linked. Just click on one. It'll bring you to the enrollment page for Facebook. So
perfect.
Easy peasy.
So,
yeah, and
we'll put that in the show notes. Story in that, you've not, you've got a pretty impressive amount of multifamily units already, and you've not been at it that long. So why don't you, share with the audience how you sort of got there and where you're at now?
Yeah, this is why I've doubled and tripled down on this brand, on this meetup brand, and why we've syndicated it, if you will, to other markets. Is when we started that meetup in Michigan, it was 15 of us in an insurance agents conference room for our first meetup. A couple of people that came, a married couple in particular, found us after about 3 months of coming and said, "Hey, we've got this property. We can't get the whole thing. It was 16 units, great market. We actually knew the property, but it was completely off market. They were kind of working with the seller for the last, few months up to a year. And they brought us in on it. So we partnered up with them and bought our first 16 unit. Flash forward to a few months after that, we came across a 22 unit in Cleveland based on the leader of our Cleveland Multifamily and More chapter, brought it to us, and we were actually under contract, fell out of contract because, long story on that, but the guy in Cleveland, Tal is his name. He stayed with that owner. And then about 4 months ago, I guess it was, the owner finally kind of said, yeah, okay, I'll come down on price. Ended up getting back under contract, brought me back in for a percentage of the deal as a net worth sponsor and closed on another 22. So yeah, I attribute it all to networking. Have yet to close with a broker. It's 2 deals, but have yet to close with a broker out of 2 deals. But what's cool about, just a kind of full circle on the beginnings of this to now, we hosted an event in Detroit. It was a paid event. We oversold it. It was 100 people. We were turning people away at the door. Brokers were there. Brokers sponsored it. And it was really neat then after that to get brokers sort of, not pursuing me, but like I'm on their list now, right? I'm in like the intent that we started with became what it was. So great, Jeff, I think Greystone Bell, Carrie Belovitz. They sponsored the event. Fantastic brokerage firm up here in Michigan, and just to be in his network is great for me. It's, so.
And actually, listen, I wanted to go to that event. The timing just didn't work for me because I live in Tennessee and you're in Michigan. But the bourbon I'm drinking right now is compliments of Greystone Bell because they sent me some bourbon as like I don't know. They do this, by the way. This is one of the advantages of working with Greystone Bell is that if you buy stuff from them or they like you, they just send you bourbon. So
there you go. It's a great
they fit really
firm.
well with the old-fashioned real estate brand because we can make bourbon old fashions.
That's right. No, they're great, and I aspire one day. Now I aspire one day to have Greystone send me a bottle of bourbon. If you're watching, Carrie, if you're watching,
we're just gonna send this video to Carrie, and we'll make sure it happens.
That's right. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. But no, so I really like them.
Bypass, what your average investor does, which is they get into, wholesaling or flips or owning, single family rentals. You just jumped right in.
Yeah, I'm amazed at my stick-to-itiveness with this, to be honest with you. It kind of comes part and parcel, and Jeff, we talked about this, with a time in my life where I started to really invest in me and my mindset and my personal development. Because prior to that, I don't know, with that kind of resistance, with the frustration we had up front, if I would have looked to pivot to do something else, like develop a brand that hopefully can give us enough of a face in the market to then attract deals. But we did. We sort of took the mindset of make it happen no matter what. and found a way around, if you will, brokers at the time. Which, by the way, this is not an indictment of brokers. Brokers have to eat. They're going to go to their closers. They're going to go to people who have proven to close. We hadn't, so we just weren't somebody that they could rely upon with their time and energy. And at that point, I know we're coming into a time where it might not be the case, but at that point, especially, it was red hot. Like they didn't have to coddle me or bring me along when they had buyers throwing money at them left and right. So not at all an indictment. It was just the reality of the market. But my job then is to do one of two things: turn and run, or try to do something different. And that was kind of our end around, if you will.
Yeah, no, and listen, I think it's super impressive to go from essentially 0 to 40-ish units in just a few years. Most of our viewers, I think, probably 2 or 3 years into their real estate investing career don't have 40 plus units under their belt. If you were just starting out now and somebody else had already beat you to multifamily and more, what would you do to get traction now? Because they can't copy you exactly, right? People have to come up with their own strategies.
Yeah, no, they do. I do think regardless of whether you start a meetup community or whatever, I think personal branding is so damn important. My opinion, you guys do a great job with it with the old fashioned show, as you hear kids yelling now. And it's the era of COVID, man. Everybody's in the house.
Yeah,
so
no worries.
I think personal branding is so important to the point where if you're starting out, let's just say, and this would be me, if I'm brand spanking new, which I still am in so many ways, like I have so much to learn. I haven't syndicated a deal yet. There's a lot that we still have to do, but I might start documenting my beginning of like, okay, I've made this decision to go to multifamily. Start documenting that, videotaping. What are you doing? Analysis that you're doing, whatever the case may be, and just starting to put that content out there for other people to see what you're doing. Put it on a YouTube channel. Develop a Facebook page, something where you can show who you are, let people imprint on you. That's what attracts deals, capital. That's what makes people like, know, and trust you. That's one thing I would absolutely do is develop a brand in some way, shape, or form, your unique brand, and document your journey, no doubt about it. The other thing I would say is for those that have gone through the effort of creating a group like a multifamily and more, there's a lot of other good ones out there. Get to those networking events. Offer value. And I would give a tip on this in terms of don't ask this question of somebody that you meet at a meetup. Don't ask, hey, thanks for all you get. What can I do for you? Like that's just, it puts so much onus on the person that you're asking. Like, I don't know. I don't know. I'll get back to you. And then you never hear from them. But just explain your skill, listen to what they need, and then insert yourself with that skill. So if you are somebody who knows how to run Facebook ads, if that's something you know how to do just as a random one-off, or knows how to build or knows how to do roofing or whatever, hey, I know how to do X. If I can help you with that at all, please let me know. That's a very different value add offer to an established investor or somebody that you're looking for mentorship from than how can I help you or what can I do for you? Just it's hard for any human being to come up with something on the spot that's relevant, and they might even not know that your skill is relevant or what your skills are. So those are the two things: get to networking events and network with people, and build a brand.
Yeah, no, I love that. So I think the build a brand stuff is straight out of Gary Vee's playbook, right? Like that's almost exactly word for word what he says all the time. Is like just it's all about personal branding, document everything, put it out there, and don't worry about it, right? Just it doesn't matter. Like our first couple episodes of the show are terrible, right? Like we'll be honest about them; they're really bad. They have worse video production quality than this one that we're doing from home on our laptops, right?
Agreed.
Like,
Agreed.
Yeah,
mine too.
I mean, they're just really not good. We did them on my phone, like on a box. We didn't even have a tripod. We're just like, we'll just set it over there and it'll work out. But that's like we just leave it out there, and that's something one of our previous guests, Matt Faircloth, told me early on when I first talked to him, way before he even agreed to come on the show. He said, I asked him that question. I said, like, well, he is a 20,000 now, I don't know, something like that, YouTube followers. And I said, well, how do you do that? He's like, well, I just kept making videos. Like it was consistency. I just kept doing it. I kept getting myself out there. I went to tons of networking events because the building your personal brand that you're talking about, I think going to networking events is part of that. Like part of Brian and I's brand is that when when we're in Chattanooga, we know all the people that do the stuff we do.
That's right.
That's a huge part of the brand. So like, I would encourage people that are in, Brighton, Detroit, something like that, they should come to your meetup. Like they
Yep.
should. I mean, it's a great meetup. I mean, I think you have like, maybe 100 people that show up regularly. Obviously, right now, those kind of meetups aren't taking place, but hopefully we'll get back to those eventually. So,
So
I think that's really great advice. What else? Anything else that you think that we should know about? Like, what's your superpower?
It really is the interpersonal piece. So networking is my superpower, and I guess I didn't know that until I started doing it kind of formally with this brand. Leaning into that and really just doubling down on it has been it's become a passion of mine. So when it comes to that content creation and not being afraid to put stuff out there, you mentioned Matt Faircloth putting videos and absolutely right. That's all we do is, we just kind of keep putting stuff out there. We're learning now some, how to tag appropriately, how to leverage hashtag. We're learning a lot of those things now as we invest more in building the brand. But yeah, you made the point exactly. It's about whatever it is you're going to do, whether it's you're going to start a meetup or you're going to go to a meetup group or you're going to build a brand. It's just do something and start right away. On the brand building side, Gary Vee says this, and I completely agree with him. I've learned this for myself. Quality is secondary to quantity. So it's quantity over quality at the beginning. You'll get quality as you go, right? The market will tell you if your content is quality by the likes, the engagement, or whatever. And then as time goes on, you get a better camera, you get a light. I have a little circle light in front of me here. Like you get all those little things as you go along. You mentioned multiple mics. Like you don't usually start off with all that stuff right away. Maybe you do, but there's no need for it. Just
we didn't. We started off with my cell phone on a box. So.
Right. That's it.
Yeah, and actually, if you go back and watch Matt's first video, it's just him walking around in a duplex and he trips over a box or something, and like, it's really ridiculous.
That's what people love, though. It's authentic. Yeah. That's why you document everything. That's what he was doing, because it's authentic, it's real, and people enjoy that. Authenticity is so huge. You got to have it.
Yeah, that's great. I love that. So, Brian, you have any more questions for Jamie before we jump off here?
Yeah, sure. No, I mean, as an investor yourself, and obviously we approach this under the guise of this very interview, which we're doing remotely, of course. We're in Chattanooga. We know what impact the COVID response has been down here. What are you seeing where you're invested?
In Michigan, Michigan's been shut down, kind of squared. There's been a lot of criticism of the governor here because of maybe potential overreach with the shutdown and the duration and all that other stuff. What I see here, I think we'll see this everywhere for the most part, but what I see here is I think there will be an expansion of cap rates. I think we're going to see in the next 3-4 months people trying to get out of deals because rent collection may not be what it was. Initially, when this happened, this is my opinion. Full opinion. I have no MBA behind this, but when this first happened, it was like April rents are going to be 75%. And it was sort of as you thought through it, and I did these panels and learned from some of these other investors, it's like, well, but stuff didn't shut down to like mid-March. So people weren't laid off or furloughed until then. And then their paycheck comes out 2 weeks later. So I think they have April rents, and they did, right? So the April rents, everybody I talked to is collecting between 90 and 100%, pretty much right where they were prior to that. Then it was like, oh God, May, which we're not at yet as of this recording, is going to be scary. But people I've engaged with who have done some analysis of their portfolio, tenant by tenant, they're still anticipating a 90+% rental collection in May. There's the stimulus that maybe some people burned it, but that's still out there that I think some people are smart enough to use that to pay their rent. I've seen other people offering incentives like if you pay an extra month, I'll give you 10% off, stuff like that, really creative. But I think there's a sense or a feeling that's starting to become, not what the reality will be. People are starting to get clear on this, that this won't be over. And I think that was the initial thought, like get through April, May, June's going to normalize. And it's like, June will have a little more normalcy to it. Like maybe landscapers can come out where they can't now. Like you'll see a little bit of loosening, but I don't think we're going to see truly this 22 million job loss return and all of, until late this year, early next year, right? Like we're going to be in this a while. So I see opportunity coming. I see cap rates expanding a bit. I see people reducing. I see it now. Brokers are calling people aggressively in this market. I've gotten 3-4 email pushes that I haven't gotten in a while from some brokerages with $50,000, $80,000, $100,000 price reductions, like early. because they're trying to move this stuff now before in 3 months it's $500,000 or $800,000 price reductions.
And
so that's what
I've been advising people right now is like, just unless you have to move, like if you're maybe under pressure for some reason to buy something, just wait and see a little bit, because we don't know what's going to happen. And what I know won't happen is, I know that prices aren't going to go skyrocketing up. So you might pay the same as you pay now, but you're certainly not going to pay significantly more. So why not just wait a minute? I
think you're absolutely right. And I do think from the commercial standpoint, when I think about all the other asset classes in commercial, like, I mean, retail's double done. I mean, it was already kind of done. Now it's double done, unless it's an experiential retail, like a gym or a bounce house or whatever place. Office. Oh my God. Office is like, I can hear the flatlining on office space when you buy that. I'm sure there's uses for this that people can come up with, and this is my own opinion. Storage, I'm kind of hot and cold on. I don't know exactly, but I mean, workforce housing, multifamily, I think is still the place. And if anything, this has taught me that I need to lean into a little bit more of subsidized renters in my portfolio than maybe I've been wanting to in the past. Not a whole portfolio, but just hedging a bit. Like, I know I'll get my checks from X number of residents versus I don't do Section 8 or I don't do SSDI. I think there's something to that.
Yeah, well, there definitely is. I mean, we're seeing that. So, I have some multifamily in Michigan, in Metro Detroit, and the stuff that we have on Section 8, of course, we collected that on the same day, the month that we do every month, right? Like third or fourth, whatever it ends up hitting, whatever that Monday is, and that's been really helpful to stabilize the portfolio. I would suggest that I think that those people are going to continue to pay their rents in June and July, and not just the Section 8 stuff, but the people that are laid off, they're going to pay their rent because they're mainly getting unemployment benefits that are really good right now.
Enhanced, right? Yeah.
In some cases, the unemployment benefits exceed the amount that they would have gotten otherwise, because normally it's a percentage, but now it's a percentage plus $600. So if you make $700 a week, which is a pretty good wage for a lot of these folks, they might get $1,000 a week on unemployment for the next 12 weeks. That's 3 months. You got a little kid running around behind you now, Jamie. That's great.
I know. Hey, buddy.
Oh, and Sylvia too. Okay. Hi, Sylvia. See, now we have guests 4, 5, and 6 on the Old Fashioned Real Estate Show, and my dogs are barking.
Wasn't expecting that.
Yeah.
My apologies.
No, it's totally fine. No worries at all. Anyway, we really appreciate you coming on. Is there anything else you want to share with listeners, viewers?
No, listen, if you're looking for more information on multifamily and more, to reach me, multifamilymore.com. As I mentioned, you can go on Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn. Everything is multifamily and more with the word, not the little ampersand. Follow us, like us, do all that stuff. If you want to reach me, Jamie at multifamilymore.com, JAMIE. Happy to engage and help out any way I can. But no, I really appreciate being here.
Yeah, and I'll try to put all of that in the show notes. What was that, Brian?
No, this has been great. Really,
we really appreciate having you on. So
guest number. Look, I'm almost. I think I'm trashed.
Like, we're just about there. We can finish our drinks and go home, or stay home anyway. Thanks again.
I see my problem. The sugar's stuck to the bottom of the glass. That's my problem. I didn't muddle. Is it improper muddle?
No doubt. All right. Well, that seems like a good place to end it.